Hello, my beautiful people. You are tuning in to another episode of the Shed Some Light podcast, a podcast where people of color can share their stories about their experiences with police brutality, profiling, targeting, and more to shed some light on what people of color go through with their interaction with police officers. My name is Timmy Ogundepe, and I am the founder of Safe Resell, a safer prepaid, cashless online marketplace where you can buy and sell locally. I am also your host with you today on this episode. Hello, my beautiful people, and thank you for tuning in to episode 5 of the Shed Some Light podcast. I'm your host, Timmy Ogundepe, and today it's my pleasure to introduce you to our guest for this episode, Michael. Mike, what's up, bro? How's it going? Thanks for coming down the show.
Hey, man, it's great, man. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. Where you stay at right now? Where you living?
Visalia, California. If you don't know where that is, it's a town that's about 20 minutes south of Fresno, California.
And where's Fresno? Fresno Southern or
Central.
Northern?
Central.
All right.
Yeah, it's the armpit of California.
The armpit of California. Okay. Well, tell the listeners who you are, where you're from, whatever other information you need to go, so they have a good understanding of who's on this podcast today.
Okay, so like you said, you already know my name is Michael Moore. Not like the white director, except I'm black and I'm about 6'3". I'm originally from Southern California, San Bernardino. Moved out here, mom's work. Went to middle school, high school out here. Went to college out at Santa Barbara. Started at Santa Barbara City. Went to UCSB. When I left there, I moved to New York for a couple of years. Got to live out in Brooklyn. Kind of do my own thing. Just kind of, study and learn and meet new people. After that, I came back and had to get back to the California lifestyle, and I've been working for a company called Leprino Foods, which is the world's largest mozzarella manufacturing company, legitimately. So everything you eat from Pizza Hut to Taco Bell to Little Caesars, even our whey products go into Mars Candy, a baby formula.
Oh, wow.
That's us. So.
Okay. Well, good. Well, again, thank you for coming on the show to this episode. You told me earlier that you had a couple of stories you'd like to share.
Oh, man, yeah. So also, just to be real quick, if I sound a little funny, when I agreed to do the show, I didn't know I had double ear infection, so I apologize if I sound a little off tonight.
Oh, no, I thought you were going to say you had corona for a second. I'm like, oh, no, not the corona. That's
no, man. No corona, my friend.
All right, good. All right, well, go ahead and start off with the story, my man, and we'll just go from there.
Okay, yeah. So, like I said, so I'm out here in Central Valley, Central California. It's definitely different than the city in Southern California and Northern California. A lot more intimate because there's not as many people, obviously. But there's a town. I'm from a town called Hanford. There's a town next to us called Lemoore, California, and that's where I work. That's where my job is. So when I first started there, one night my car had broke down. I had so I was out of the car, so I had to I started getting taxi. You had to get a taxi, and so I had left the plant. So our plant's kind of far out, like it's a little bit. It's in the outskirts of Lemoore, not really in town. So I was walking one night. It's probably about 10:45 p.m. And I called a taxi, and the taxi was going to meet me at a store, which was 7-Eleven, which is about maybe I want to say 2 miles away from where I work. And I'm walking, and then I have a buddy who actually lives behind that store in some apartments. And he was like, hey, stop on by real quick. We're over here chilling and stuff. Just come say hi until your taxi get here, and then, leave from there. So I was like, cool. So I go do that because it takes forever for the taxi, because the taxi has to actually come from another town, because the town of Lemoore doesn't offer taxis.
Mm.
So I go over there, and after a bit, I'm like, all right, I probably should head over back to the store so I can get picked up. And so as I leave, I leave his apartment. I walk about I want to say, no joke, maybe 70 feet, if that. And I get to a corner with a stoplight, and a cop pulls up on me. And when the cop pulls up on me, I'm already knowing. I'm in my head. I'm like, okay, something's like a little bit off, because I mean, me personally, all I have is I'm in a t-shirt, some basketball shorts, because we get our uniforms at work, and then I have my lunch pail. So of course, my first instinct is they're gonna think something's wrong because I'm out here at like almost 11 at night with a lunch pail. So then the cop pulls up on me, puts his light on me. But first thing he goes, put your hands where I can see them. Well, put my hands up. I'm gonna comply. You know what I mean? I'm not tripping. I'm not doing anything. So I just kind of, okay. So put your hands up where I can see them. He's like, so he walks up towards me and he goes, he has his gun out, pointing, and he goes, he tells me turn around, face opposite direction. He comes up. Here's another car. And as I look, another car pulls up. Boom. So now there's 2 cop cars with 2 cops. He gets out his car, car running, lights on me. So now I got these lights on me. I'm on the corner. My head's there. Cops with guns up. Tell me to get down on my knees. I get down on my knees. Again, I'm like, oh shit. All right, let me go ahead and get down. There comes another car. Boom, 2 more police. They pull up. So right now I'm surrounded. He grabs me by my hand, put me in cuffs, sits me up on the curb. Where are you coming from? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, I just got off work. And then I was, going to a buddy's and I'm waiting for a cab because my car broke down. Where do you work? Questioning, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so I just got off work. I work at this plant right here. This is, it's my job. I just, I'm trying to go home. I don't have a car right now. Well, there's been a string of robberies and you fit the description of the person that's been blah, blah, blah running. So they get my ID. They run my name and everything. All the while I'm sitting on the corner looking like a fool, all these lights in my face, people driving by, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not robbing nobody. I work right here. You can call my job and they'll tell you I just left, not even half an hour ago. And sure enough, they're running, nothing comes back. They come back, okay. He cuffs me, he goes, all right, well, get to where you got to go because you don't need to be around here right now. I'm like, well, I told you I don't have a car. I work right here and I have to wait for a cab. So I do need to be right here right now until I can go home. Basically, just, trying to show off this bravado or whatever they got, Mm-hmm. That's pretty much one. Honestly, 2 of the incidents is from the same police. 3 of it is actually from the same police.
Man, and that shit crazy because your story is pretty common. Your story in terms of how police stop you and they say that you fit the description. That's their fucking go-to is, hey, you fit the description. Well, I don't fit the fucking description. The person you're looking for is 6'3" and I'm 5'7". That's how tall I am. And so it's just like that shit is crazy how they can just use that on you to detain you, put you in handcuffs, embarrass you in front of everybody, run your name, and then just let you go for no reason. How old were you when that happened?
At that point, I was 25.
Oh, so
I want to say I was 25 at that point. I'm 32 now. I was 25 at that point.
Was that your first? Was that the first running with the police at all? Your first experience?
My first negative running.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. If we're saying negative, oh yeah, that was my first negative. I mean, I've had run-ins with the police before, but honestly, I'm gonna be real. Like they weren't as bad as this particular police department.
Mm.
This particular police department is known around here too for being shady like that, you know.
Man, what's the police department name? Let me cuss them out real quick. What's the name?
Lemoore Police Department.
Lemoore Police Department. Stop being fucking shady, man. Lemoore Police Department. If y'all ever hear this shit, stop being fucking shady. That shit ain't cool. All right, sorry, I had to say that shit. I hope they hear it one day and know that we know. We know. We know. Shit.
I definitely, it leaves a bitter taste, you know, in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I try not to be, you know, very judgmental and like that, but you can't help it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the only person that's happened to there, so you know. But again, like I said, after that incident, it happened twice again.
It happened 2 more times after that first incident.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. I don't know if you want to hear the other, but yeah.
Oh hell yeah, I do. Go ahead, talk to me.
So the following time after that, actually down the street, not even maybe a quarter mile, there's some houses, and there's some parties going on. You know, buddy was having a party. A group of us went, me and my friends, and you know, obviously we're African American, and so we go to this party, and down the street from that party was another party, but it wasn't a black party, it was just some other party. But I go outside to go on the phone because I'm calling some people who are trying to figure out where to go, how to get to this party. And as I'm out there walking around talking to them, because you know I'm not in front of the house where the party is. I walk down the street because it's loud. There's all kinds of people everywhere. You know, it's a cracking party. And where I was walking is where you enter the house subdivision, and it's off the main street right there. And so I'm trying to give directions of where to go. Well, sure enough, here comes the police. They're rolling up. But again, I'm not really thinking much of it. I'm minding my own business. So honestly, I'm not really tripping. Pull up on me. What are you doing? Like, I'm on the phone giving directions to a party. He's like, I saw you just pull that car over and get out. I'm like, you saw me get out of what car? Like, where? Because for one, I didn't drive. So, you know, you can't really tell me that you saw me get out of any car. And he was like, yeah, I saw you pull that car over to the side and get out. I was like, well, no, I've been drinking, but I'm also not driving because I don't, you know, I'm riding with my friend. He's like, hang up that phone. So I'm like, whatever, I'll hang up. I hung up with my friends. They were almost where they're supposed to be. Anyway, so I'm like, okay. So then this girl who's actually at the party walks over. She sees the police have me on the corner. It was this one guy, and she comes over, and he's like, "Ma'am, you need to go back over to where." She's like, "No, why do I need to go back over there? What are you doing?" So she, you know, she knows she has my back. She's also an African American woman. You know, she's like, "Why do I need to go back over there for what? I can't walk over here. There's nothing going on." He's like, "Ma'am, you need to go back over that way." And she's like, "No, I'm rather stay here." And I mean, I appreciate that so much, man, because you know, you don't never know what could have happened. Mm-hmm. But he told her, "Okay, stay here. Both of you sit down on the curb." So we both had to sit down on the curb. So as he does that, he's calling in backup. So he calls in backup. They show up. So a couple of my buddies finally show up, and they see that, and they're like, "What the?" You know, they walk. So here they come in the group. He's like, "Hey, you guys stay down that way. Don't you come this way." Just kind of tripping. So some more police pull up. There they go with their lights again. They got their lights on me and this girl. I don't know who she is, but again, like I said, I think the fact that she was there, because who knows what would happen if she had not been there. And so we're both sitting there, you know. So now they got attention because now everybody's seeing that they're doing this. So they get our IDs, they run them again. My IDs, my shit's been ran so much by them. You think they just say, "It's that same dude." They should know my everything by heart by now. So they ran it again. Obviously, they're not gonna find nothing. You know, I don't got nothing for you to find. You know, you can keep digging and looking, but You know, they did. They ran. Okay, well, we're watching you. No, you got in that car. Blah blah blah. Dog, I don't know what he was smoking that night or what. But I'm like, I was standing here on the phone. I was like, what car? I didn't drive. He just wanted to find a reason to start something with me, and then to come try to break up whatever parties. But do what you got to do. But you could leave me out of it. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that right there was the embarrassment of being sat down again after doing absolutely nothing by the same police department that not even maybe it wasn't even honestly I don't even think it was a whole year apart from when they had me sitting on the curb handcuffed down the street for absolutely nothing, just getting off work, getting ready to go get picked up by a taxi cab. It's the same police department, it's the same situation, and I'm like, why is this happening here? Like, and it doesn't happen nowhere else.
Yeah,
it happens nowhere else.
What was the crime they said that they suspected you of doing with that car thing? Were they trying to say that you was drinking and driving? What were they trying to do?
So what they out here, you get a lot of people who get caught for driving drunk, get a lot of DUIs.
Okay.
There's a lot of those. So, they were, they're known for that, notorious for that. But I'm not stupid. Yeah. I know where I'm at.
Yeah.
And they were, but I was like, show me what car, and you can grab and check for keys. Like, I don't have any keys. I don't have a car. The car that they were talking about was parked further down the street. Not even like, I would have to like walk all the way around, and I had to walk down the street. And I was like, so you're saying I parked the car, ran over here. You saw me as I'm running, and I just stood here and waited for you. I was like, okay, that makes total sense.
So what? Okay, so I'm a little confused too in terms of that young lady that came out. Why'd they put her in handcuffs? Why'd they sit her down? She didn't do nothing. She didn't. They wouldn't even suspecting of her doing anything wrong. So why put her in handcuffs right around her shit?
Because she's interfering. She was okay. Yeah, she was interfering with police investigations. That's what they call it, right?
That's what they try to get you with all the time, man. All the fucking time, trying to scare you with that shit.
And I should have, that should have been a lifelong friend. Like I said, if that black woman hadn't been there, who knows what this dude? He seems really sketchy anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
It was just like you said, it's that same thing, same situation. I've been around different police my whole life, and I know. I was like, this one is off.
And you got one more story too with the same police department?
Yeah.
You gotta. You don't live there no more, do you?
No, but I work there, so I gotta go through there.
Shit.
This was a little. This one is as crazy. I end up getting off quicker, but it's So like I said, I work there. So I go to lunch. I want to go to McDonald's.
Mm.
I was like, my fat ass, let me go get sausage McMuffin. So it's a foggy day. It gets really foggy out here in this area during certain parts of the year. Okay, so I as I'm going to get some food, you can't see you got to be driving real careful because you can't see left to your right. You got to be real careful. And so what they'll do is they'll park off to one of the side streets and just kind of wait to get people for certain things,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I made sure everything, I got my tags, my lights on, because you got to have your lights on, so there's certain things. So before I get the car, I turn the car on, boom, make sure it's all right, cool. Because like I said, I already hate these cops in this town, so I already make sure my stuff is in order. Now, and I hate to use the word hate, but it's the fact. It's the fact.
I hate them. I would hate them too. Shit, you got every right to.
And everything's good, so I'm chilling. I'm driving. I ain't gonna lie, I got my music loud. I got it up. This is probably about 6:45 in the morning because I go to work in crazy hours. And so I go get my food. As I'm driving back, I see lights behind me. Oh, here we go. All right, I got it. I only got 30 minutes for lunch. I'm in my uniform. I'm like, yeah, look, I gotta go back because if I don't, I get points. I ain't trying to get fired. So So I would do what he said, talk to him real quick, hopefully he sees that I'm in my uniform, which he did. He's where you coming from? I'm like, I'm on lunch at work. I only got 30 minutes and you've already used up 15 of it.
Mm.
And I was like, well, why'd you pull me over? He was like, well, your lights aren't on, your fog lights aren't on. I was like, I can see the lights right now. Like, they're on. They're clearly on. Like, it was a younger cat. This kid was probably, I want to say maybe 23, 24. Young. They kind of filter whoever through these academies. Used to get picked on in school or whatever, but I'm like, dude, I can see the lights right here. You walk around the front, it's flashing on your pants. So what are you talking about? I was like, I got to get back to work. Like, are you going to give me a ticket or what are you going to just make sure your lights are on? So I'm like, they're on. They're clearly on. Like, they're on right now. I don't need to make sure they're on. You just wanted to stop the fuck with me. I got to get back to work. So I dipped out. I was just done. So that was my bad encounter with them. And it kind of sucks because I do a lot of community work. I have a group that we do a lot of community work around here in these areas, and we do Christmas gift for kids who can't afford things.
Mm.
So I had to take gifts to that police department. I'm gonna tell you, that was one of them. It's not for the kids. If it wasn't for the kids, I would never step foot in there.
Yeah.
But again, like there's a lot of less unfortunate kids out here, and got to do what you got to do to get back to the community.
Yeah.
And but just in my head, I'm thinking, what are these cops gonna do to one of these kids as they get older? In my situation, like if I hadn't known as much as I knew about police, I probably wouldn't be here. But like these other kids is different. Especially we see what's going on in the world right now. It's nothing new. The first time I ever seen the police kill a man, I was 8 years old.
In front of you?
It was down the street. My great grandmother. So I grew up in the ghetto originally. I didn't, my mom got us out. She did her thing. But yeah, I seen them kill it. The whole neighborhood seen it. Choke the man out. Choke the man out. Choke the man out in his front yard. It's nothing new. This has been going on. Beating up my uncles, my cousins, seeing that growing up, them cars all jacked up because they're trying, we're going to find drugs, we're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Beating them up. I'm talking about coming home bloody, black eyes, closed. They busted in my great-grandma's house and beat up my cousin who's a girl, punched her in her face. This is the police.
Mm-hmm.
They're being sued right now for that. It's still in court. This happened like 3 years ago. It's still going through court. Oh, sorry, my alarm's going off. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine. And I think that's just that you and I, like the reason I started this podcast is to share stories of what we have to go through. So what you talking about, of course, I know I've personally experienced that as well. So I know what you mean. I know what you see. I know what goes on. But a lot of people in the country don't know what's going on. And that's the main reason why I started this podcast. And I labeled it Shed Some Light so people can see why the fuck we so pissed off. Why? Because this shit ain't new. Like you said, this happened to you. You saw it when you were 8 years old. You mentioned you're 32. This shit ain't new. And it's a pattern. And we just, time after time again, we ask for change. Ain't shit happening. We try different ways to protest. Take a knee, they get pissed off. We ride to get pissed off. We protest to get pissed off. Ain't nothing that we can really do to change what's going on. And I feel like, I don't know what's different about this George Floyd murder compared to the rest, but I feel like something's going on now this time that change is happening or will happen or is on the pathway to happen. You know what I mean? So I do want to go back to your childhood, right? Real quick. What were you taught about police growing up, and how has that changed what you think about police right now?
So there's two sides to every story. There's more than two sides. But me growing up, like I said, where I'm from, it was not the best of areas. It was Delman Heights and San Bernardino. That's a predominantly blood neighborhood. you have your rival neighborhood across the street.
And real quick, let me
You
stop
know,
you right there. Can you explain what that? I know what it means, but what do you mean by blood neighborhood?
so gang bloods.
Okay.
You have the Bloods and the Crips.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm from a family where you have your Bloods. We had half our family is original Crips from LA,
Mm-hmm.
and the other ones are Bloods from where I'm from in San Bernardino. There's it's it's just that's my family. You go to
Mm-hmm.
a family reunion, you think you wouldn't believe it, but it's
Mm-hmm.
all family, it's all love, but people believe in certain different things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot of gang activity on one end or whatever, but it's just that was just the lifestyle. I growing up when you're younger, you don't you just see it as life. It's life.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot of nights of police helicopters, like damn near every night. So the police were always driving through. Um, like I said, they like my uncles and cousins growing up. Those were the influencers in my life. I could go into my whole father deal, but that's a whole nother story. you know, he was the biggest drug dealer in the neighborhood. So I had there's that aspect, and then my mom was more into she's the school girl. She's the one that got the good job, and she got out.
Mm-hmm.
You got that kind of aspect of it. So I didn't leave originally when my mom left to come out towards this way. I wanted to stay with my cousins, and then I have a lot of half brothers and sisters, my grandparents. I didn't want to leave. That's all I knew.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know this Cowtown crap. But the police, what was we knew what they were because they were beating up the people. I saw that guy get murdered in his front yard, choked out. Seen a lot of our family members arrested, and they're real rough and they're shut the fuck up, cussing at you,
Mm-hmm.
all that. It's what they are,
Mm-hmm.
who they are, you're a kid, Um you had the dare situation, that whole dare week, they would be, at your school. Because I actually went to a white school like my mom sent me to a school that wasn't in our neighborhood. It was on the north end where the rich side. She made sure that I was educated. She was always gonna make sure that I wasn't cheated in anything in life. And and my dad to a certain extent, I wasn't allowed to wear red. I wasn't allowed to do certain things, and if he seen that anybody did something, he was on that shit,
Mm-hmm.
but he wasn't really there, kind of deal. So, he didn't teach me about the police. All I knew is he was arrested a lot. My mom went on to be a CO, which is a correctional officer.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to see that side of the, peace officer thing. So I kind of grew up around different peace officers. Not police, but peace.
Mm-hmm.
It helped me get a little tougher being out there, obviously, because again, the things you see, the things the people you lose help mold who you are. So the police aspect of it was nothing, it's just out here, like I said, it's smaller,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little more intimate because you don't see that police officer at the grocery store.
See, I can't do it. If I seen a police officer at the grocery store, plain clothes, I know who he was, and he did me wrong. Oh, I don't know. You gonna really have to send me to jail for some shit.
Yeah,
that shit crazy.
And then you get put in these certain conflicts of, like there's I don't know if anybody's ever said it, but like there was a guy I played football with, I knew growing up. He became an officer. Well, apparently he's kind of a dirty cop. Like I don't know because I don't live out there no more. Like I live in town, 20 minutes away. But I hear he's doing dirty things and roughing people up and trying to act all crazy. And I used to hang out with this guy. And not to, I'm gonna go ahead and throw the business out here. I seen the dude do cocaine, like like, like, dude, what are you doing? Where do you get off trying to, treat anyone like trash when you got skeletons in your closet?
That's a power trip right there.
It's a power trip.
That's what it is.
It's a power trip, and there needs to be an olive branch between us and them. Obviously, there's got to be. That's the only way shit will change. But The problem is there's a lot of people out there that don't want to understand that. Fuck this Blue Lives Matter shit. Fuck that All Lives Matter shit. Do you understand? They don't understand the point of what Black Lives Matter
Mm-hmm.
means. They're seeing it as just black. They're only focused on the word black.
Mm-hmm.
They're not listening to the other two words behind it. You know?
Mm-hmm.
They don't care to listen to understand. The black people are being killed. I'm not saying there's no one else being killed. Don't get me wrong. But they're not being lynched like black people are being lynched right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's so crazy if people want to put up these blinders and just, I think it's only supposed to be this theme. It's supposed to, run out. Nah, like you said, something happened with this George Floyd. And I don't know how spiritual or what you believe, but God set this up, this pandemic. Everybody's cooped up.
Yep.
There's nothing. But you have nothing but time to focus on what's going on, what you see. And the old new Hitler, which I call Trump, he's the new Hitler. He isn't making anything better, but there's a lot of apologists for him. They're going to make excuses. Do you think that if Obama was in office and this went down, he wouldn't have said something? He wouldn't have went immediately to Minneapolis or been on TV like talking about the situation?
Definitely. And Trump made it worse. Trump further divided. Trump literally told our military to shoot the civilians. That's what he said.
He shot beanbags and tear gas at civilians to walk to a church to take a picture with the Bible. He's never opened. He's never opened. The dude's a piece. He's a piece of work, and I don't care if he's the POTUS. I don't care. He's not American. This dude's a racist. He's a face of a lot of Americans right now. He's made it okay to be racist. He's made it okay to overlook what's going on, but people don't want. If it's black, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They're going to have to hear it. They're going to have to deal with it. They just want to, like I said, there's a lot of apologists, and you know what? It's over. Those days are over. Now, am I a fan of let's defund? I don't get into that because that's totally when you're dealing with another man's wallet, another woman's wallet, because we can fund it, but where's that money going to go? How do we know it's going to where it needs to go? That's what I worry about.
And you were touching about that as to what you want to see in terms of the change and come to police interactions and justice. So can you just further, real quick, just dive into what you want to see in terms of reform and in terms of how we deal with this situation that we have to deal with every day?
Okay, so I attended our protest. So we had a protest in Hanford, Black Lives Matter protest. So peaceful protest. And at that protest, man, was a beautiful thing. It was so many races, so many ethnicities that, honestly, us being from high school going on, I swear to you, I would have never thought that many white people cared or that many, Mexicans would care. Because, there was a lot of blacks versus Mexicans. The white people were just, they used it bigger like it was like nothing, We've been at a point where a parent wouldn't let us into a party because we was black. A parent, not the kid, the parent wouldn't let us in the party because we was black. And so, when we had this protest and this is going on, I am seeing honestly, it's not a lot of the older people, but this young up and comers, man. It was it's new school. It's you got a lot of mixed kids. I got a lot of mixed siblings, cousins. Those are the people that got to make the change, and they're, you know what I mean? Because guess what? You get the best of both worlds.
And I think that's 100% true, because I think I seen was a couple of months ago that by 2040, 2050, that the minorities are going to be the new majorities by then, just because of interracial relationships and whatnot. Like I have a kid, 7-year-old, who's half black, half white. So, and I definitely agree that that's huge. That we're having that help from the younger generation to really hopefully shape the mentalities of people in the country and the world. So I definitely agree with that, my man.
Yeah, so, and like I said, there was a lot of different ethnicities, a lot of races. Not racist, but different races.
Yep.
And the police were there, and the chief of the police spoke. He walked with the people. He did everything. It was really peaceful. There was no, obviously everybody's hurt, man. There's people. You're gonna have people. Fuck the police. They're hurting. They're hurting. People are hurt. They're tired. But these people, you still had their help. The police, did what they had to do. That's what I want to see. I want to see you actually take a knee against those bad cops. Stop telling me,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's a few bad apples, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you good apples, stand up. Stand up and let them know, hey, this ain't happening. What are you afraid of? This brotherhood you got? You're afraid of that. So the bad apples must be the higher up because you're afraid to speak. Do not be afraid to speak and stand with the people, because when you stand with the people, they know what you're about. If I just see you there holding the line, staring, ready to shoot these rubber bullets and all that, why are you doing that? Why aren't you over here with us protesting against those bad apples?
Mm-hmm.
That would
Yep.
mean the world to those people who are hurting. That's the olive branch you need. It takes more than one side. It takes two. You know, the you're worried about the riots and stuff. You know, these riots won't happen if you're walking with the people. They won't. It will
Yeah.
not happen. If it pops off, guess what? You're there to stop a lot of stuff. You'll see it go there. You're like, hey, you know, the real true protesters is what I'm calling it. Know what this is about. And I just kind of that's to me that's where the change has to be made. Is these supposed good apples in law enforcement, they need to speak up. Stop standing
Yep.
there. Stop standing there and basically protecting these bad apples.
And I know you've probably seen this shit around too. Videos of police officers. Like I saw this one video, right? Of it was a wrongful arrest, mistaken identity, whatever the case may be. This dude threw this black man, he was 19, 20-year-old, on the ground, right? And without any questions asked, four other officers jumped on him. In my mind, I'm thinking to myself, so y'all motherfuckers going to just jump in. You seen this dude basically harass this dude, assault this dude, and y'all ain't gonna ask no questions like, hey, does he have a warrant? Is he under arrest? Why are you doing this? They just kind of jumped into it. And that kind of pissed me off. It's like, okay, so all you motherfuckers are okay beating this dude up without even knowing why you're beating this dude up, you know? So I think that you're onto something that everybody that listens to this shit, if you know any law enforcement officers that are the good apples of it, please let them know what the fuck we want. Because that might be the only way we can have change.
Yep.
Please, please,
Yep.
please, please, please. All right, Mike. Well, before I let you go, I got two other questions real quick for you. Is there anything else you want the listeners to know about you, what you're going through, what you're going on, anything at all?
Oh man, just I almost like a lot of the people too, like where I just kind of stay to myself. Like we know this is going on. We've known this is going on. But I kind of was really quiet about it for like, the longest. And no joke, I don't know what it was about the George Floyd thing, but I immediately, like, I don't usually share that kind of stuff on my page. I don't give it the publicity because it just hurts. I had to say something. I had to speak. I don't give a fuck who sees it. I don't care if it's at work. Fuck the powers that be. What are you gonna do? Fire me? Well, fire me, and I'm gonna still fight for my people. I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at that point in my life where it's like, you know what? My grandparents had to do this for me. My great grandparents, my great
Mm-hmm.
grandma was a slave in Louisiana. She had to butler houses. My grandma had to pick cotton next to her. You know what I mean? Like they had to fight. Right? I'm not about to deal with these white people killing our people. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And it is. It's white people.
Mm-hmm.
I have no issues with white people again, but it's clear that they have these white privileges.
Yep.
And it's got to
And they.
stop. It's got to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's just really what I'm going at the point where I am in life. I'm 32 and I don't have any kids yet. I haven't settled down. But man, do I want to bring kids into this world that we live in? At this point, you know what I mean? Do they deserve to deal with this kind of stuff? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Is it would it be selfish of me to do that? I got to question that.
That's real. That's something that we got to think about. That's something that we really got to think about as people of color that our white counterparts don't have to think about. And I just dropped an episode 2 episodes ago, episode 3, with my son, talking about racism. And I really had to water it down for him to understand, but also not impose fear in white people and police officers, but also let them know these motherfuckers don't like you. for the most part, like the first instinct is not to like you. Like they're trained or whatever the case may be to not like you, to not trust you, and you have to make them trust you. Whereas your white counterpart, your white friends, their first instinct is to trust you and is to like you, and then you have to make them do something that they don't like for them not to like you. If that makes sense. So I definitely agree, and that's one thing I've been thinking of. I just had my daughter was just born here May 1st,
Oh man,
and
congratulations!
thank you. So I'm a father of two now, and I'm scared. I'm terrified of that. Not only because my son's obviously a black boy growing up in this world, but my daughter is going to be a black woman growing up in this world. She might have sons, a husband, so on and so forth. And how is she going to handle all this shit? What's she going to teach my future grandkids? So it's definitely something that we got to think about, especially when you have kids day in and day out. And that shit is not fair, my man.
No, man, it's not.
Man. All right. Well, Mike, thank you again. I got one last question for you. I am starting this thing where I have my guests shout out one black-owned business anywhere in the country. Please, whatever black-owned business you have, go ahead and let the people know what it is and plug them up.
Yeah, MDW Financial Group, man. Out here by Celia.
All right, MD. You said MDW?
Yes, MDW Financial Group. It's a financial group service that my partner actually started. I've known him for years, and he's come a long way. From his situation, and he's created his own black-owned business. He employs black people. He helps black people out. He's just actually won Man of the Year with the NAACP out here. Again, he helps with credit. He's now into the home mortgage and all that. He's got, like I said, he got my credit up 85 points. So shout out to my buddy. And that's what we as black people need. Our people helping us get ready to buy up our property to start creating our situation.
Okay. And do you have a way for our listeners to contact them?
Yeah, if you want, you can contact them via well, I don't know if you guys have Instagram, but you can look them up. It's a credit guide. Credit_GODD.
Credit_GODD. All right. Thank you, my man. Again, thank you, bro, for joining me on this episode of Shed Some Light. On behalf of people of color everywhere, I appreciate you for sharing your experiences and your story. And to our listeners, thank you again for joining us as we share our experiences with you. If you have a story you want to share or you know somebody who does, please have them send us an email, or please send an email to shedsomelightpodcast@outlook.com. Again, that's shedsomelightpodcast@outlook.com. Mike, my man, thank you so much once again for joining me this evening, bro. And stay out of Lemoore, what is it, Lemoore Police Department?
Yeah.
Stay out their radar, man. Fuck them guys.
Hey,
All right,
I appreciate you.
All right,
thank you
so
for
much.
what
Have
you're
a good
doing,
night,
man.
man. All right, no problem. Take care.
Take care, brother.
All right.